everyone. I'm Taylor Edwards. I'm a community development analyst with ICF. OHC is hosting regional meetings across the country. And these meetings are 2-day events, with the first day aimed to equip existing housing counselors with tools and resources. And the second day focused on information for prospective housing counseling agencies. I'm so excited to be here as we have a special guest, Jimmy Stewart from Chicago Housing Authority, with us today. Jimmy Stewart is the manager of home ownership initiatives. Jimmy had the pleasure of attending the Office of Housing Counseling, or OHC's, regional meeting in Chicago. As a public housing authority, what interested you in attending the Office of Housing Counseling's Chicago regional meeting?
Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate the introduction. There was a number of reasons why I was interested in attending. I would say first and foremost, I figured that this meeting would consist of a ton of housing counselors. And I was interested in seeing what it is that they were learning, how they network with one another, and what are their support that would be there for them in terms of other agencies, lending institutions, so on and so forth. And I just felt that there would be a great opportunity for me to learn a lot more and maybe have some takeaways to take back to the agency.
Who did you have the opportunity to meet, and were you familiar with some of the folks that were there already?
Wow, absolutely. I was quite surprised. I've worked in this industry for many years now in the city of Chicago in different capacities of housing, homeownership. And I was quite surprised to see that there were a lot of housing counselors who are part of a contract that I manage right now to provide homeownership for on behalf of the agency. So I saw some of those department leads there. Some of the lenders that participate in our program were here because some of them are also housing counselors. Even some of the other housing counselor program managers that I've heard about, I had the chance to really meet them face to face and to learn a lot more about their challenges and the resources that they provide, which for me was huge because I'm always looking to see how can we expand our reach, tap into other markets, other counselors that may be able to provide services to our residents here in Chicago.
It is important for everyone to know that these regional meetings also are tailored to the region that OHC is in at the time. So as Jimmy was in Chicago, I think they were really intentional about trying to make the sessions, connected to the work that you're doing every day.
Absolutely. I would agree wholeheartedly. Just to have an organization put together some training that would speak to the demographics that we serve in this community, that was fantastic. And it was actually something that was surprising for me. And I didn't quite understand why I enjoyed it so much, but that you're right, Taylor, that is probably what it was. It was the fact that everything was tailored to Chicago, and that was meaningful for me.
Which of these topics covered at the regional meeting were most related to your work, and what were you able to take away from the Chicago regional meeting?
I took away so much. I would say the first thing that came to mind, you guys had a topic the first day, it dealt with equity in housing. And particularly, it focused on the bias appraisal process. And again, I've worked in this industry for a while as a managing broker, leasing, just a whole gamut. And even just living here, you're very aware that there is segregation throughout the city, right? And the impacts that it has professionally and on those who are purchasing homes and the value and so on and so forth. But the meeting actually gave me even more of an understanding of the role that I could play in helping to advocate to close that gap.
On that topic, it seemed like you had a lot of takeaways, and it seemed like you, I would say, left the meeting a little bit like inspired and like kind of reinvigorated for your work. So I'll just ask, what inspires you about the work of housing counseling agencies? Um,
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? I manage several homeownership programs here for the Housing Authority, right? And one of them is our Choose Own homeownership program, and we have contractors who provide housing counseling for our residents here. So you feel like you understand, the services and what they do, but really, being at that meeting, I had a chance to hear, what they held accountable for in terms of rules and regulations, the level of support that they receive from HUD in terms of education, but then just hearing from them one-on-one about, just really having a little bit more compassion about their level of listening to the client, being understanding when they're delivering their services, providing like clear and concise guidance on how to obtain home ownership. The fact that our counselors work and do these things with each and every person that they engage, right? So just their level of capacity to do this over and over and over and deal with unique circumstances and situations with people one on one. I just have a great deal of respect for housing counselors, more than I ever did. It's a lot that they're held accountable to, and so it's just really good to see that they've taken on that oath and they're out there helping our families.
It's definitely exciting to hear because housing counselors are basically our trusted advisors for the public on how they're going to attain their home ownership goals. So it's super important that not only you see the value and the benefit, but also that the clients see the benefits of housing counseling as well. I guess I'll move on to the next question of how do you think you can leverage the housing counseling agencies that you were able to meet at the
Mhm.
regional meeting to benefit the community you serve?
In no particular order. One, I think it allows me to be able to broaden our services and how we can redirect some of our families for additional resources. That was one thing. Also, just having a better understanding of, how to reach the counselors and the services that they provide. I didn't realize that you can go to HUD website and find so much information to help steer you in the right way to find the right counselor that delivers the right services that your clients may need.
The Office of Housing Counseling plans to host several more regional meetings across the country throughout the end of this year, 2023, and going into 2024. Jimmy, would you recommend other public housing authorities to attend the upcoming regional meetings?
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, I love the fact that the regional meeting was tailored to this region. We're all working on very similar goals, and that we could probably reach those goals together in a lot faster way if we work together. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you so much, Taylor, for the time. It was a pleasure meeting you all. So thank you so much.